Alright, today I'm shooting with my new Olympus Infinity Twin. It is a 35mm point and shoot film camera. This particular camera has two lenses, a 35 and a 70mm focal length. As you can see, I am an expert at loading film and definitely didn't have to do multiple takes to load, and it's just as easy as that. So I was wandering around after work when I stopped off at the Riverwalk Park and noticed they had some sort of event going on.
Hello.
Turns out what they were doing
Good, how are
was
you?
actually practicing for the upcoming competition that the Bakersfield Police Department holds. This is the third annual event they've held, and it's a motorcycle skills competition. I'm going to go through and fast forward on some of this footage as I kind of walk in between the different areas. I'll show you the shots as I take them. Definitely not all of them are keepers, but I feel like it's worth showing. You might notice that I actually have a second camera with me. That's the Canon Demi EV-17. It is a half-frame camera. Not all of the photos from here turned out. The first part of the roll on that half-frame camera I accidentally exposed, and so I lost maybe about 10 or 11 shots. In fact, another one you'll see coming up, I'll actually show you the light leaks and double exposures that ended up happening to it. But I only took a few photos on the half frame here at the event. I was shooting pretty much a whole roll of Fuji 200 on the Olympus Infinity, so we'll go through and look at all of that. Probably the coolest feature of this particular camera is that it has two different lenses and essentially uses a mirror to switch between the two focal lengths. So instead of having some sort of zoom with, the typical softness you might expect from a zoom lens, you just have a really sharp 35 and a really sharp 70, which is pretty cool. And you can actually hear me switching between the two lenses. If you listen on some of these clips here, you can hear the kind of swapping back and forth. Like I said, definitely not all keepers. I was definitely shooting a little more than I would really expect on a film camera. Part of the reason I was even trying to get into film was to shoot a little bit less and to be a little more thoughtful, but when you're at events like this, it's a little bit difficult not to feel, I guess, a little bit more trigger happy on your photos, just because, if you miss the moment, you miss the moment. And so you're not really being as thoughtful at events as you might be otherwise composing images. So definitely a lot more throwaway images on this one, but this particular image I do feel like turned out pretty well, but definitely not the case with all of these at all. Unfortunately, this was another double weird exposured image, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it goes with film cameras. You're sort of gonna make some mistakes here and there. So I just so happened to be right at the end of the roll on that half frame camera. So here you see me loading up some Lucky 400 ISO black and white film. I actually got this stuff off of AliExpress of all places. I've heard of a few people shooting Lucky now. It's an actual film stock being made over in China. I've seen Lucky 200 color and Lucky 400 black and white. The reason I picked this up is purely cost and curiosity. I saw this on AliExpress for 3 rolls for about 18 bucks, which it's a little bit cheaper than you can pick up some other rolls of film for. Not like super cheap, and I mean, you're still paying the same to develop it either way. And this is me actually in real time struggling to load the film, so yeah, definitely only loaded a couple rolls so far. Way different than putting an SD card in, that's for sure. I will say, spoiler alert, I'm still on probably frame number 12 even right now, days later, having got back all my other photos and developed and editing this video. I have shot a few photos on this, but not many. I recently actually picked up a Pentax K1000 and just barely shot a roll of color film on that as well. So yeah, a little bit of a different process with film, getting it developed, sending it off. Definitely makes it a little bit harder to make content around. Here I am just kind of fiddling with the settings. This is not an SLR. You cannot see through the lens to make sure you're in focus. You purely have to set the distance on this camera. One trick I'll say if you're shooting on a camera like this, you can just set it to f16 and infinity focus, and that way anything about 5 foot onwards into infinity will be in focus. Something vaguely interesting actually happens here for a moment. You can see this guy right here. Let's see. Yep, there you go. He goes down there. It's only the practice run, so I mean, you know, it's not timed or anything like this. I wish I was a little bit faster on the trigger. I could have got a better shot of him picking up his bike, but like I said, I don't even have this roll back, and it's only a 35mm, so I can't really zoom in enough to see or really get a good shot on this, unlike the Twin, which has a 70mm, which was a lot better for this kind of event. This photo was also kind of okay. Like I said, it's a sort of departure from digital in the fact that I'm trying to take much less photos overall. One of the most annoying things coming back from a photo trip, at least from me, was the burst of about 7, 8, maybe 10 shots of virtually the same image, and going through each of them to see, oh, is this one more in focus? Is this a better angle? It just got kind of annoying, and so part of the reason I wanted to try film out was to make myself a little bit more intentional. Partly because it's expensive. I mean, you have to buy the film, send it off to be developed, pay for that too. I mean, if you're doing one roll at a time, including shipping, it's damn near $1 a shot. It can get cheaper if you do multiple rolls, especially on a half frame. It gets way cheaper, of course. But, you know, 75 cents, $1, whatever, right? It's still costing you basically $1 a photo, which is going to inherently make you a little bit more selective in the photos you take, this event notwithstanding, because I was a little bit loose here. Another couple of nice things about film photography, at least so far, have kind of been the drawbacks. What I mean is, you know, I can't just take an SD card reader and plug it into my phone and check all these photos out in the field immediately in ultra super high definition. Can't pixel peep on all these photos. I have to sort of, you know, take them and wait till the roll's done, developed, sent off, comes back, and then I can finally look at the photos. So I do feel like it forces me to be a bit more in the moment. I've actually already carried this over to my digital work by just turning off the automatic photo review on my camera. So now it doesn't do that auto, you know, here's that photo you just took. I just do my best not to look at it at all until I'm back at home, you know, later on, which, I don't know, has been a little bit of a nice change. That and not worrying about battery life, even though you know, we all carry a couple extra batteries with us. While I really enjoy street photography, I feel like my style ends up being more of an observational photography, if anything. I think that could be geographically inspired, just because, you know, I don't live in a major city like New York or LA, so it can be a bit more difficult to take those on the street shots. Everything's a bit more spaced out here. Everything's further apart. People are further, and, you know, it's hard to get up in people's personal space and take photos. You're not walking by constantly on busy streets. So while I have since bought a few zoom lenses to go with film as well, you know, again, that whole expensive. So I don't shoot the same way I do on film as I do on digital. And for that reason, I feel like I've been kind of taking more environmental shots. If there's an event or something like that, it makes it a bit easier. But yeah, I can't help but snap a few candid shots of people kind of relaxed and doing their thing. If they're looking at me, if they're posing, it's not really what I'm interested in. I just like seeing people natural environments doing what they want to do. I find that really interesting. But yeah, that's about it for me. Thanks for taking the time to watch all this. If you've stuck around through this, maybe drop a like, a comment, something like that. I plan to do more photography related content in the future. Right now, I'm definitely on a film kick, so I'll probably continue to do that for a while. Though I have been shooting film without recording it, so I guess I'll have to get back into the swing of recording my film if I want to make videos out of it. But yeah, it's been fun, and I'm definitely gonna keep taking photographs and going for walks, and just trying to enjoy the environment around us. But yeah, thanks everyone. Hope to see you for the next one. Might be photography, might be something else. Don't know. All right, bye.